Well, my name is Ron James, and as a filmmaker, I've dabbled in quantum physics, metaphysics, and the paranormal. And one thing that I've come to understand over all this time is that nothing in this reality is as it appears. Delving into the paranormal is delving into the very same questions that religions and philosophers have been trying to answer for centuries. So people say, well, how do you find a connection between the spiritual work that you do and the paranormal work that you do? And to me, they are so profoundly interconnected that there is no question. When you uncover answers in one realm, you uncover answers in another. My personal experience, I've been in haunted environments, I've been in UFO environments, I've worked with people that are extremely talented in the field and produced 7 paranormal films and a boatload of other ancillary materials. So the paranormal genre opened itself up to me as a way to explore subjects and questions that had wide-reaching implications, far beyond is there any such thing as ghosts, or far beyond are there actual ETs coming here. The answer to both of those questions I absolutely believe is yes. It doesn't stop there, it actually begins there. And when we start to think, what is the relationship between all of these activities and the very nature of our world and our existence, and how does that broaden our understanding of who we are and why we're here, that's when it really starts to get interesting. My personal work in the field of paranormal, I have done a lot of ghost investigations. I put out a film called Dead Whisper that was at the time the definitive film on the subject of electronic voice phenomenon. I'm part of a network of paranormal investigators and filmmakers that we've got the inside scoop. So when something happens, we're one of the first people to know about it. And we get out to the locations and deploy whatever technology we need to deploy to get the best documentation of the event. If it's a ghostly phenomenon, we have a whole series of technology that we're using, including things that nobody's seen before. There's new things called the Ovulus and some different things that are being used to enhance electronic voice phenomenon. And some people say that we're actually getting very close to being able to talk to the dead. Now this is really exciting technology. And then we get in with the infrared and all the stuff that you see in the traditional ghost hunting shows. And I am a firm believer in always using psychic mediums to concur the results, especially in haunted environments. I've got situations on tape where we've picked up electronic voice phenomenon saying something right before you hear an actual person saying it who claims to be communicating with the dead. Now when you start to mix this kind of evidence together, it just becomes incredible as far as what you're showing and what you're proving. One of the latest things that I'm involved in is the surveillance of the San Luis Valley in Colorado. This is a place where the cattle mutilation phenomenon actually started with a case called Snippy the Horse. And there is a lot of rumors of government activity, secret underground bases, alien phenomenon. UFOs are seen there constantly. And so we have actually set up surveillance cameras throughout the valley that feed directly to the internet, and we are recording activity that happens in the valley. There's a place in Atchison, Kansas called the Sally House. It's gotten a lot of publicity. It's been in a few TV shows. And when we did our investigation there, we were trying out some new technology. We developed some technology for actually picking up voices. We developed some technology for using resonant sound to antagonize potential spiritual energy. When we first arrived in Atchison, you have to drive over a bridge. And the one thing I noticed is that as we drove over this bridge, it went from green, fertile, beautiful farmland to literally kicking down a few notches in the hue of the colors. It was like the whole world just changed to shades of gray as we crossed this bridge. It was like there was a cloud hanging over this city, and you could feel it. It was very heavy. And so we arrived in Atchison, and it was a very strange, almost surreal experience. The people were like far away, like you'd be talking to them, but they weren't really there. It's like the whole place has something going on with it that's really hard to explain. And then we found out later that it's the location of one of the largest underground government bases ever, and it's supposedly a storage facility. So what we began to find out about Atchison is that there's some kind of dimensional doorway happening there, and we suspect that the government's involved in at least knowing about it, experimenting with it. But when we got to Atchison, we went to this house and we set up our experiments, and there was a very definite energy in the basement of this house. You would walk down there and you would just feel your heart being choked and pressed, and it was a very heavy feeling, an almost painful feeling. When you're in the presence of very strong paranormal activity, for me, my antenna, so to speak, is that I will get a pressure in my chest. It feels like somebody has my heart and they're just squeezing it. And so you get that happening to you. This entity was so malignant that It literally choked one of our camera guys, knocked him down. The psychic had such a bad experience that she ran out of the house. There was a film crew from New Dominion Pictures and my film crew. We were all there together. What happened was just absolutely insane. By the end of the shoot, everybody was at each other's throats. People were screaming, they were having fits, they were throwing equipment. They were just gone completely nuts. These are professionals in the industry, and we were just yelling at each other, and people were trying to kick each other out of the house. And the energy was so insanely erratic that it had to have been influenced by outside forces. We all got out of there. People were sick for weeks afterwards. Relationships took months to heal. And the whole experience at Atchison really showed me that when you put yourself into a situation where some of these forces actually have the ability to affect you, you never really know what's going to happen. I've got the experience and the equipment, the expertise, and the presence on camera to carry myself when necessary, to go into a variety of different paranormal activities and paranormal events, paranormal situations, and know exactly what's going on, and how to handle it, and how to best portray it and convey it through the film to the audience. And most important, what are the questions that we're really asking when we see these things happen?